I was a broadcaster for years, for decades, and working for other people, for networks and for radio stations. And one of the frustrations of anybody who works in mainstream media is lack of control. The final straw for me was I worked for 6 years for a cable channel called Tech TV, and we worked really hard. I think we did a great job. I did 2 shows a day live, and I think we built a great audience, it was I thought a great company. And they sold it, and everything got canceled. And after 6 years of effort, I had nothing. And that was kind of the last straw. I said, well, if I'm going to do this again, I'm going to own it. At the same time as that kind of thought came to me, the internet made it possible really to do this quite easily and inexpensively. I can use consumer off-the-shelf digital equipment, just as you're using. I can use the internet for distribution. So I didn't really need a cable channel. I could do it all myself. And so that's what I did. Not at all. It was very gradual. So I never quit my day job. In fact, I still do a radio show. I just finished it, and so I'm an employee still of mainstream media. But what happened was I started doing podcasts, doing my own shows, and distributing on the internet. And almost right out of the box, they got a pretty good audience. At the time, I wasn't selling advertising, so I just asked for donations. And I got enough donations that it paid for the equipment, paid for the gear. I still made a living on the day job. It was very gradual. I added another show and another show. After about 2 years, advertisers started to show up, and we started to be able to sell advertising. So it's all been very gradual. And now we're doing over 20 shows. We stream live video 24/7. We have 7 or 8 really good advertisers, good strong advertisers. We have a good cash flow. We're highly profitable. So it's all worked pretty well, but it was never kind of the plan. It just kind of happened. Well, tell that to my ad agency. No, I think they look for advertisers, but it turns out that many of the advertisers either advertised on the radio show, or I had a relationship with them, and then they came to us. As the podcasts have succeeded, the good thing is, some of these guys are just trying out the idea of new media, trying out podcast advertising for the first time, or live video advertising for the first time. But we get good results. So they try it for a month or 2 months, and then they stay. One of our advertisers is an audiobook company, Audible.com. They bought one ad on one show 3 years ago, and they have never left. So I think if you produce results, people stick around. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it certainly lowers the cost of getting advertisers if people stick around. There is a cost to going out and finding advertisers. That is expensive. So it's nice that people stick around. But we work with an outside company called PodTrack. They are always talking to companies about podcast advertising. They represent a lot of different companies. And so they've done a lot of the groundwork of educating companies about podcasts, what they are, how to measure the audience, how to do it effectively. They're very good at that. And so we've really benefited from all the work they've put in. Last year, our gross revenue was, after paying commissions, was something over $2 million, and our profit's about half of that. This year, I think we'll do $3 million, and our profits are, our costs are about half of our profits. I end up plowing a lot of that back into the business, but the actual operating costs are about half of the net, half of the gross. Well, I think, a big broadcasting network or a big publisher, $1 million here or there, it's not going to get them excited. So one of the things that I learned from this cable channel was, the reason Tech TV had to be sold was they were only making, $30 million a year, and it cost $50 to $100 million a year to do. They were losing money because it was so expensive. So one of the things that I do that a big broadcaster doesn't do is, we can do it we do it cheap. Our programming is cheap. It's kind of low rent. It's a cross between professional and unprofessional. And so that's one way we can make this work. Our costs are low. The other thing is that if you are a television network or a magazine or a book publisher, you've got a business that you don't want to cannibalize, that you don't want to hurt. So it's the same reason that a bookstore has a hard time competing with Amazon.com. They don't want to move all their sales online. The bookstores would have to close. So television network doesn't want all their viewers to start going to the internet. It puts them out of business. So an established business has a hard time when there's a big paradigm shift as there is right now in media. It's very hard for an established business to make that transition. You know, it's very hard for Kodak to go from being a film business to a camera to a digital business. They've actually done a pretty good job, but Polaroid didn't. So, you know, it's a big jump, and some companies make it, some don't. And I don't think it's going to stay this way. I expect that, you know, the big media companies will move into this space pretty seriously, and they already are, and I think they're going to do so more because this is how people want to watch content. They want to watch it on the internet. All of our money still is made in the downloads, in the podcasts. I hate the word podcast, but I'll use it because people know what it means. Our downloaded shows are where all the advertising money is. That's, you know, our biggest show is 175,000 downloads, but only 5,000 people watching live. So it's a small fraction of the overall revenue is the live revenue. But I made a big bet on live because I think the problem with podcasts is it's very hard to figure out how to listen to them. So you have to find them on iTunes, you have to download them, you have to subscribe, and is it going to cost money? It says subscribe, it's in the store, I don't know, is it free? And then once you download it, you got to figure out how to get it on a device. It's only geeks are going to do that. And I think that podcasters have kind of hit an artificial limit as to how many people are going to listen, because that's how many people can figure it out. But there's this vast world that it's just too complicated for. Whereas live streaming, you go to a website and we're there, we're playing. And, you know, we're doing deals to put, our live stuff on all the phones, to put it on big screen TVs, to put it everywhere people would turn it on. As soon as it's as easy to watch our shows as it is a network television show, then I think we're in good shape. And we have to make it that easy. To me, that means live streaming. So that's why we did it. We're not going to get rid of the downloads. In fact, you know, we couldn't. And I think it's a convenience, but I think what will happen is the audience will start shifting from the live stuff, from the download stuff to the live stuff over time because it's more convenient. But it's almost like, you know, do you have TiVo in Germany? Do you know what TiVo is? It's the digital video recorder. You record on a hard drive. You can do that with television shows. You can't really do it with internet as easily. So we provide them with a download of, we kind of TiVo it for them. We make a copy for them that they can download. And that's why we always will do audio and video downloads. But I think eventually the audience is going to be the live stream. It's more interesting. It's more compelling. It's happening right now. It's more, you know, to me, that's what people want.